Good afternoon for all those that are joining now. We're just waiting to kick off, just waiting to hit the half-hour mark, which will be a moment. You're very welcome, wherever you're joining from around the world. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Thank you for joining our Innovandi Open Challenge. Hopefully you're in the right place. We're just waiting to begin. We're just waiting a few seconds until we actually kick off. I can still see many participants joining from across the world. Whilst we're waiting, I do encourage you to use the chat function to say hello to colleagues or other people around the world, but also to use the Q&A function. Please, if you have any questions, we will try and address them throughout this webinar, but also we will, if we don't get to them, we will also have a small question session towards the end of this launch, and also we'll try and follow up by email. So I do encourage you all to use that Q&A function as we go. I am going to make a start now. So formally, welcome to you from around the world. Thank you for joining the Innovandi Open Challenge, our second challenge. Welcome to our launch event. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So I'm Paul Edelio. I work for the GCCA. I head up communications, strategy, and policy, and you're very welcome today to join us. We have a very, very busy agenda, but I just very quickly wanted to talk a little bit about the GCCA. There are many guests that don't know who the Global Cement and Concrete Association are. We are a member organization, a CEO-led organization with member companies who produce cement and concrete from around the world. And our members operate in just about every country of the world, 40 of the leading cement and concrete companies. We also work very closely with a number of national and regional cement and concrete associations who we're proud to affiliate with across the world. And our members represent around 80% of cement industry volume outside of China. But of course, we also include some key China manufacturers as well. So that's enough about the GCCA. Please do visit us on our website. Please do follow us across our social media. We've got a very busy agenda today to launch our Open Challenge. We've got a sort of 40-minute program, some messages and voices from really important stakeholders, as well, and leading voices in terms of innovation, in terms of the net zero emission. We also want to hear from, of course, from some of our challenge representatives that went through the Open Challenge last year. And we have a really good panel, a really good Q&A with some of our member organizations who act as mentors for the challenge for this year. So look, without further ado, let's make some progress in this webinar. Just really a little bit of context I wanted to start the launch with, of really what's the fundamental question that we're trying to answer. Why are we here? Why is innovation important to us? So we've got a little film of some critical messages for us. You can follow the links if you want to in your own time, but just very short extract from some key stakeholders.
I am here to deliver a very strong message to the cement and concrete industry. We need your help to avert a climate emergency. Your industry represents 8% of global emissions, and we need you to be part of the solution to the climate crisis. We are in a climate emergency. Every indicator on climate is heading in the wrong direction. Emissions are increasing when they should be decreasing. Not enough finance is being mobilized to support resilience building and adaptation. We need all hands on deck. The good news is that we know what to do. We need to reduce emissions rapidly over the course of this decade. And we have many of the tools and solutions that can get us there.
Can innovation stop the worst effects of climate change?
Yes. Any single innovation has a chance of failure, so you have to fund a lot of different approaches.
What does a green industrial revolution look like?
We still want roads, so we need cement that you'd have to call green cement.
Can we solve this problem in time?
Yes, there's still time to not just invent efficient approaches, but then deploy them within a 30-year time frame. That's daunting. There's no previous project we've done of this scale, but it's still very much doable.
The truth is, I think all of you know this, that if we're going to keep 1.5 degrees alive, and that is our goal, we have an enormous challenge ahead of us to bring to scale new technologies and to harness the deeply capable capacity of private sector entrepreneurs in order to bring them to the table, because without it, no government has enough money to accelerate, to support the process. We need everybody engaged in this.
So just a little bit of context of why we're here for the Open Challenge, the big global mission that we have to reduce the emissions and eliminate the emissions in concrete, and really setting up why innovation is so important that we work with and reaching out to startups and entrepreneurs from across the world. And I want to introduce Thomas Guillot, who's the Chief Executive of the GCCA, just to talk a little bit about the work of the GCCA and setting it a little bit more of the context of innovation and the challenge. Thomas.
Thank you very much, Paul. I apologize for my voice, I have a little sick. I would like to start with John Kerry, that was the last on this little movie. Concrete is essential, and indeed, I mean, as you all know, concrete is quite literally the backbone of the modern society we live in. So we need concrete for the modern world, we need concrete to develop. We learned from United Nations that 3/4 of the infrastructure that will exist in 2050 is yet to be built. So that's really a strong message on the requirement of this material, on the need for this material for the development of the world. Now, we are obviously custodian of the material, and as much as the world needs concrete, we need as an industry to deliver the world a net zero concrete. And as you see it, I mean, we don't hide, we don't fade away, we don't shy away. We need to address the problem of the emission, and we are doing so through many different angles. If you go to the next slide, you see our mission, and this is really the purpose, and the strong purpose of GCCA is to build a net zero world. What does it mean? We believe we are an organization that aim at supporting, catalyzing, accelerating the net zero transition in the concrete world, in the concrete industry. And that's why we have been built, that's why we have been set up. And that's the mission that the sector has given us all across. So all our members have something in common. This is the roadmap, the big commitment that was done, the big endeavor. This was published in 2021 in October. We went through this commitment. That's a global commitment. We believe, the first sector to actually made such a commitment in such a magnitude. We have about 200 people from 9 regions from all over the world that developed this. And the good news is that progress were made. So we start here in 1990, and we see that until now, there was some reduction, some effect. But this is not enough. We need to accelerate tremendously. And part of this acceleration is obviously innovation, and that's why we are here today. What are the drivers? What are the levels? We have, in fact, 7 levels, 7 decarbonization levels to work on. The roadmap is on the full value chain. So we are starting from construction, how to build, how to do concrete, how much cement in concrete, how much clinker in cement. So we have a lot of things like this, of course, including recarbonation and including the green energy that we need. And that's the pathway, and that's the development that needs to take place in the next 30 years. How does it happen? And we go to the next one, and we will see that already all our members all across the world, and I said this is one of the commonalities of our members, is to work currently today on solution, be it on products, be it on process, be it on technology. And as a result, we see in the next slide, our GNR, because we monitor and we report progress. You see, we have a 22% reduction of CO2 on a per ton of cement produced. And that's a 2 percentage point increase or improvement rather versus last year. So that really demonstrates again the willingness of the industry to act, to do things, and to move forward. What is the role of innovation in that? If you go to the next slide, innovation is key. It's key to unlock our net zero activity. Our roadmap is real. I mean, it's based on actual technology, but with innovation, we will do it faster, we will do it cheaper, and we will do it more effectively. And that's why we have a big part of our work at GCCA is on innovation. If you go to the next slide, we have 2 world-class platforms to innovate. One is this open challenge where we are today, and we will come back on that. On the second one, or the first in time, was the research network, which is a big network of research. We have 70 PhDs working on different projects. Altogether, it's more than 70 projects of research being conducted with 35 industrial partners and 40 academic partners. And that gives really a tremendous vitality and a tremendous development for what we call pre-competitive research. Now we move on to the next part, which is the second platform, the Open Innovation Challenge. Back to you, Paul.
Well, actually, Tom, we've got a message from the chair of the research network, the scientific chair, Professor Karen Scrivener, who we work closely with, who is also professor at the EPFL in Switzerland. So but actually to talk about some of the work of innovation there. This is one of the TED Talks that she gave quite recently. So let's hear from Professor Karen Scrivener now.
As a child, I loved to build houses from Lego and to help my father, who built the house we lived in. I was also fascinated by the way the materials work. This led me to study materials science and then back to concrete. Concrete's a fascinating material, and we still have a lot to learn about how it works. Now I'm a professor and head of this laboratory of construction materials in the Institute of Materials Science and Engineering, EPFL, École Polytechnique Fédérale de Lausanne, in Switzerland. And we're pioneering the ways to reduce CO2 emissions from cement and concrete. We have to realize more than 90% of cement is used in emerging and developing countries. In the last 30 years, we've seen the way the use of cement in China has increased so dramatically, so that they now use more than half of all cement produced. India is a country of similar size to China, but it presently has a consumption 5 to 6 times lower. This represents a huge pent-up demand. In India, there's a massive need for affordable housing and infrastructure. It is estimated that more than 25 million new homes will be needed by 2030. Concrete is essential to meet this demand. But how can this be done without drastically increasing CO2 emissions? There's nothing that can replace concrete. It's an intrinsically low CO2 material. It only makes such an important contribution to CO2 emissions because we use such enormous amounts, more than all other materials put together. Many people here in Europe think that wood could be a solution, but even to replace just 1/4 of cement with timber, we would need to plant new and sustainable forest 1.5 times the size of India. Even 100 years ago in India, an institute was established to find alternatives to wood because it was already in short supply. But we can drastically reduce the CO2 emissions from concrete if we replace traditional Portland cement.
That's a very powerful message from Professor Scrivener. If you want to hear some of the great work that she's doing on calcine clays, do check out that video in full, but also on the website at the EFPL. Let's talk a little bit now about the actual challenge itself. Some great context that we've heard about why we're here. Let me introduce my colleague Claude Larea, who is the Director of Cement Innovation and ESG at the GCCA, to walk us through what the Open Challenge is all about. Claude, over to you.
Thank you so much, Paul. And so as Thomas explained, we are running two platforms. The first one is this research network you heard about, and the second one is our Innovandi Open Challenge. So the Innovandi Open Challenge is a different approach, and what we are trying to do in this program is to connect startups and partner the startups with our members, with all our members, in view of accelerating the development of decarbonization technologies for both cement and concrete. So really the focus here is decarbonization as well. There are a lot of innovations we could think of, but we are really focusing on getting to net zero as soon as possible. And really, we are really, again, trying to connect the best and the brightest startups and looking outside our industry for new ideas to decarbonate. This year challenge builds on the first experience we had last year. So last year we ran a first challenge, the 2022 challenge, which was focusing on carbon capture and use innovation. So on capture technologies, but also technologies that were using the CO2 in our value chain. So we were not looking at uses outside our value chain. We were looking at use within our value chain, because here our sector has really something unique to offer, because we have the possibility to capture the CO2 within concrete, within our material. And last year, we sourced over 100 startups, and from there, through a selection process, I will explain, 20 were invited to pitch to our members, and 6 of those, and you see the logo of them, and we will hear from them later on, made it to consortia with our members. It doesn't mean that nothing happened to the other 100 or to the 20. We have many success stories to tell about the startup that applied. So it's even not, if you don't make it to a consortium, that nothing will happen. I issue a letter of support for the startup that made it to the pitch day, and that has helped some startups to get grants and funding for their projects or their ideas. But also we saw collaboration taking place between some of our members and a startup, so 1 member or 2 member company. We usually build a consortium when we have more than 3 members interested in working with a startup. But some startup we see here have collaborated with 7 or 8 of our members. So it has been amazing. I think, Paul, we can move to the next slide. The GCCA Open Challenge is really unique accelerator program. There are many accelerator programs in the world, and startup can apply to many accelerator, but this one is unique because I would say it's probably faster than others, and it offers a direct access to our members, to our member experts, to our members' plants, labs, research facilities, whether it's the material that you want to test or whether you want to test the technology and build a pilot, that can directly be done with the expertise and the infrastructure of our 40+ member companies and also across the world. So we offer facilities to test and pilot your project all over the world, and we can ship samples from all over the world and really accelerate, move from ideas to prototype or pilot test or proof of concept or business case with direct expertise. And that provides the startup with the access that as a startup you need to grow. The picture you see here is a picture of our Challenge 2020 demo day in Düsseldorf, where company mentors and startup got together for a demo day event, which you can still rewatch from our website if you're interested. But also it was the occasion to meet and to work together. So I think this is really a unique program, and Paul is already moving onto the next slide. And this shows the different phases. So today we are opening the application process of 14 March, and this will be a 2-month process for startup to apply. And you will later on see what the topic is, because we still haven't said what the topic is. But then the startup will be pre-selected, and that's a process with our members, experts, based on the file that startup have submitted, but also on exchanges with the startups if there are questions for clarification. And then we will select a limited number of startups. Last year it was 20, 22. It's not that we have a number. We select the one we are interested in for a pitch day in front of our members, and startups will obviously be prepared for that pitch day by us and our members. And then from there on, we go on the onboarding phase that's going to take place over the summer period. And then consortium will be built to accelerate startup technology. So this is really when the accelerator program starts. taking the different projects to Demo Day that is already planned for April 2024. And this is really a day where we want to showcase the innovation status and then possibly further collaborations from last year challenge. Some startups are continuing to work with our members even after Demo Day. And I think that this is the right time, Paul, to hear from short snippets from the 6 startups we worked with last year on their experience.
Yeah, that's right, Claude. Thanks ever so much for that. And we're seeing many people using the chat function. That's great, introducing yourselves to each other. Please do also use the Q&A function, and we'll try and answer questions as we go. Also questions at the end, but also those that we don't get to, we'll try and follow up over the course of email. But let's hear from Nasir's startups now, who've got some real key insights that they want to share.
My name is Natalie Giglio, and I work for Carbon Upcycling Technologies. The challenge has been good. We did a pilot test program where we looked at a whole bunch of different materials from all corners of the world to see what materials were going to be best candidates to become cement replacements. And so that was what we did, and it was a really cool process to examine the different materials. The members have been great at using their networks to find materials from all over the world that we could test in our process, and they've been quite good at communicating with me throughout the process of what they want to see as the result of this program.
So I am Alfredo Faubel, and our company is called Carbon Biocapture. So it's been a very fruitful discussion because we've had many meetings online, and we've had a number of exchanges of technical information. There were lots of questions. I mean, this is a relatively new technology. They were not familiar with it. And there were some challenges that we had to overcome, but we found all the members we interacted with extremely interested and proactive and helpful. So it's been a wonderful experience.
My name is Jan Hoppenbrouwers. I'm responsible for sales and marketing within Carbonoro, which is a Dutch startup. Well, first of all, of course, we had to do some pitches to explain our technology, and then we got the consortium members were allowed to select the technologies they want to build up a consortium with. So we were chosen by 6 cement producers, and we've been working the last 4 or 5 months on a feasibility study. Of course, first getting agreement on what kind of flue gas were to be used, and what composition, that sort of stuff. And we finished that. We finished the feasibility study, and we're now actually at the phase of, well, discussing potential pilots with these 6 producers.
I'm Richard Atkinson. I'm from CEMEX. We're a UK startup that produces low energy drying equipment. Our experience with the Open Challenge has been very positive. We found the companies to be open, keen to do new things, keen to find new technologies, and keen to make progress in decarbonising their value chain. So we've been delighted to be involved.
I am Thierry Legrand. I am in charge of Fortera for Europe. Fortera is a startup initially created in the USA, in California, and we have developed a technology for low CO2 cement, what we call reactive calcium carbonate. My experience has been good. I mean, we have received samples, we have analyzed these samples, we have asked for more samples to do additional tests, which we did, and we had pretty good results. So for me, it's a good experience.
Hi, I'm Dr. Connor Hamill, and I'm the co-CEO of MOF Technologies.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jose Casaban, and I'm co-CEO of MOF Technologies.
So we're going to continue to work with the members to roll out this exciting technology post-completion, post-Innovandi, and we're looking to continue on our scale-up journey and ensure that this technology is scaled in time, to help combat the battle of climate change.
So amazing messages from some of the startups that sort of got to the final and are partnering with our member companies. But what about this year's challenge? Shall we unveil that now?
The world is changing. Increasing population, urbanization, and adapting to climate change means that we will need more sustainable and resilient infrastructure. And concrete will be essential to this. Concrete is responsible for around 7% of the world's CO2 emissions, But through our 2050 industry roadmap, we have committed to reach net zero by 2050. Innovation is essential to unlocking our net zero future. We are taking action and making progress, but of course extra help is needed. That's why we are excited to launch our second Innovandi Open Challenge, our unique industry decarbonization accelerator. We are looking for the world's most exciting startups to work with us to help us decarbonize. Startups will have the opportunity to partner with our members, the world's leading cement and concrete producers, who will provide startups with the resources, expertise, and mentoring to develop, accelerate, and commercialize their technologies to help decarbonize our sector and the world. If you are a startup developing materials and ingredients for low-carbon concrete, we invite you to join the Innovandi Open Challenge. Together, we can build a more sustainable future. Join us and apply today.
There it is. There's a challenge, and Ford will talk a little bit more about it. If you didn't catch the website details, there it is at the bottom of the screen. You can have a QR code it or click on. But also, don't forget, be sharing these slides with all participants. So don't worry if you've missed any of the detail. Paul, then, do you want to talk a little bit about what this year's challenge is and why?
Yeah, sure, Paul. Thank you. And this actually answers a question: why did we cut Karen Scrivener after replacing? This is a question we have in the chat. Why did we cut her after she started to talk about replacement? You can watch what she says about replacement, and she has an amazing solution. But this year challenge is about also trying to find other ideas and innovative solutions. So you got it from the film. The topic of this year challenge is new material ingredient. You call it as you want. Again, we want to be open and not limitative in the way we call things for low carbon concrete. So what could that be? That's innovative admixture, innovative supplementary cementitious material, new clinkers, aggregates. But it means that it has to be something, and that's really important what I'm saying, and it's going to be on the website. So take the time to take a picture of the QR code. It should be what we call a ready to use and a direct ingredient to concrete. So that's really important, something that goes directly into concrete. Other criteria that our members will use to assess the startups is obviously the innovation and the uniqueness of the process, whether the performance, how is the performance compared to traditional concrete, how is obviously the carbon footprint lower than a traditional concrete, what is the environmental and sustainability assessment of the process? Is the process water intensive, energy intensive? Is there any waste heat utilization, any other prerequisites? So try to describe your process as much as you can. We have also issued, what do the startup need to provide to reply? It's nothing super complicated, but it's enough information for our members to answer. I see a question, direct question: alternative cementitious material a lot? Yes, they are a lot. So this is a direct ingredient to concrete, and this is material and ingredient for low carbon concrete. Sometimes it's easier to say what we are not looking for. That sometimes helps to understand. We are not looking for alternative fuels or low carbon fuel. You could say this is a new material for low carbon concrete. Yes, but this is not a direct ingredient to concrete. So we are not looking at material that help the production process. It has to be a direct ingredient. So no alternative fuel. This year challenge, we are not looking at carbon capture and utilization or storage technologies. So that's also something we are not looking at. That was actually the topic of last year's challenge. We will continue to work on carbon capture. But this is not what we are looking at for this challenge. And we are also not looking at process or methods for producing concrete. So no 3D printing. We are really looking at the material side of concrete. So I hope this helps you to understand what the challenge is all about. Again, that information, what I just explained, is on our website. There is also an address, an email address for startup application that you can find on the website, and that's the way to apply for the challenge, is to send the required information to that email. I don't know, Paul, where we are about time.
Yeah, Claude, we've got 10 minutes for a discussion with some of the members and the mentors. If we move on to that.
Good. I will introduce them. So we have with us on this panel 5 of our members. We have agreed, and we have been mentoring some of the startups last year, and we will still be very active this year, I'm sure, and we were very active in preparing all this with us. So we have Davide Zampini of CEMEX with us, Vice President of Global R&D, Edelio Bermejo, Head of Global R&D, Innovation and IP with Holcim. We have Daniel Duque, Argos, UltraTech Lab Leader. We have Marios Katsiotis, Titan Cement, Head of Group Research, Innovation and Quality Department, and Raju Goyal, UltraTech Cement, Chief Technical Officer. So we are covering the world here, from Latam to India, and I will ask each of them a question because we are a bit tight with timing. But Edelio, I will start with you. We have just presented what this year challenge topic is. What are your expectations from this year challenge, Edelio?
So the expectations are a bit different, as you said. The first open innovation was, first of all, a new one. That was a first attempt on scouting startups that were very much upstream in the field of CCUS, carbon capture, utilization, and storage. So that was absolutely key, because this is the best opportunity on the long term to decarbonize. This time, it's about identifying startups, but much more downstream, as you said, downstreams in the construction value chain. This time is again on net zero, but on net zero in concrete, which means by leveraging all the materials, all the ingredients, the way to place them together and to have some synergies between the different materials that can work in decarbonizing our concrete. And again, on concrete. So this time is very much downstream. So in a nutshell, any startup that has an innovation to scale up should apply. So this is an opportunity for you to discuss with the industry, to fly, to have some, obviously, support from the industry to make your startup a success.
Thank you, Edelio. Thank you. And I will move on to Davide. And Davide, obviously, we do a lot of work ourselves as an industry. Why, and I think we can build on last year's experience, but what do you think that industry also needs to seek innovation from outside our industry? And why is open innovation so important to our sector?
Thanks for the question, Claude, and hello, everybody, and really looking forward to the second Open Innovation Challenge. Well, I think, the last year's experience confirms the fact that, innovation has no boundaries. And so, innovations can originate anywhere. And so we as an industry need to be conscious of that and, take full advantage of that, because currently what we're seeing is, an environment where innovation is fervently, occurring and taking place, through academic institutes, through startups, what you name it. People are very eager to bring innovation into our industry, and we should, capitalize on that. So in that sense, so open innovation is very important, and we need to continue to let's say, foster that approach. On the other hand, I think what is really fundamental in terms of open innovation is that the way we have been conducting it has been very interesting, because we have created, I think, a strong environment of collaboration. So where you see, the industry's experts, their academic expertise, experience coming together with these new ideas and, helping, these startups and these new ideas and these innovations to actually, move faster, accelerate, and let's say, I know it's a common, let's say, phrase, but we want to be able to, fail faster, learn, and then, obviously improve and take these technologies to a scale where they can bring about important transformation in our industry and take us where we want to go.
Thank you, Davide. Raju, you were also involved in last year's challenge. What would you like to do differently this year? Where can we improve?
Thanks, Claude, for the wonderful question, because I will just build on what David said on the previous discussion. And if you see that the wonderful thing what happened with this program is that hardcore or hard to abate industry came with a startup and joined hand and develop a system and develop collaboration was one of the things which has industry has seen and got a lot of confidence things can be done differently. So what I think that because I was a part of the 3 consortium out of 6, and I really say that this was as a hard to abate industry, it was a kind of a eye opener for all of us. And this startup and innovations can really solve the problem of the cement industry. So what we are looking for this that can be done in the next cycle of this innovation challenge. We have selected last year the 6 consortium, and the number of startups was there. I wished we can have the number of startups and consortium should be more on this side, and especially on the CCUS and especially the U side, because utilization of that is one of the key area which we have to look on that side. And second, we also look into the Asia perspective and Indian perspective, because that's the area which I feel is need to be geared up compared to the US or Europe startup kind of a thing, and see that how we can encourage more and more cement companies as well as startups to join the hands to take the participation into this journey to decarbonize our hard to abate industry. And that will help us to learn because we are very traditional kind of a business and traditional kind of operations side. This will definitely support all of us to do something which we have not done in the past. And I looked at so now something we need to do in Asia also, like either the seminars, road shows, or workshop and things to attract the number of new initiatives or new startups which can help especially the Asian industry, India and Southeast Asia and Asia, how we can build their relationship and build their like a joint collaboration which we have done in the past, so can enlarge the landscape. Number of startups can be helpful for joining this year. And as you rightly said, the specific items we have mentioned there, and this is going to change our whole game in the cement industry.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Raju. And really, indeed, Asia is our focus. And everyone, stay tuned because we have specific action for Asia sourcing. Marios, and I'm sorry to press things. We have many questions to answer online as well. Marios, we heard what we can offer the startup collaborations, obviously, but what else can we provide the startup, Marios, than collaboration? So what is the additional topic?
Thank you, Claude, and I'm also looking very much forward to this year competition. I believe what we can offer the startups is practically what they need to offer a deployable solution to address climate change. And that includes the collaborations, as you mentioned, but also access to specialized knowledge regarding our sector, access to infrastructure, be it laboratories, be it world-class laboratory and research centers, or be it industrial premises within industrial premises, as of course, in addition to access to funding and other assets. And as we stressed in the previous innovation challenge and also today, the importance of coupling this outside-in approach for innovation will allow us to decarbonize our sector, which is so-called, it's included along the so-called hard to abate sectors. And for this, we can, we can help or we can support startups in different stages of their journey, either be it in the stage of proof of concept or at a more mature stage, to help them and also help ourselves to provide these solutions that can be deployed for the construction and for our sector. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marius. And I would like to close this with Daniel. And Daniel, maybe it's the opportunity to wrap up again. What is unique? Why is this a unique opportunity for the startups?
Yes, thank you, Claude. Our accelerator is unique because one of the key aspects of innovation is to really understand the needs of the users, the needs of the customers. So here, the startups will have the opportunity to better understand what are our challenge and how to turn this challenge to make a concrete with less CO2 to turn that into an opportunity. So this is really the difference of our accelerator. So I invite you to profit this opportunity and to be part of this initiative.
Thank you so much, Danielle, and thank you so much, everyone. I think, Paul, floor is back to you, and I will try to answer already some of the Q&A questions.
Yeah, and please do obviously go on the website as well. You can email us if you have specific questions about the challenge. There's an email address there and contact for you to use, but Claude's already sort of trying to answer some of the Q&As that we've got. One quick question, Claude, how many people are we anticipating? How many entries do we want from this year's challenge?
I think we want, we obviously want many entries, but we want more consortium. So it's not only the number of application, it's the quality of the application. And we want as many startups to be successful and get to consortium stage with our members.
Absolutely, Claude. That's really important, and thanks for clarifying that. So let's we've got a message now, and we're very, very privileged to have her from Just Entrepreneurs. Just a sort of final rallying call from her perspective before we sort of move to Harold Friedel from the High Level Champions, who's waiting in the wings to sort of wrap up this this webinar. But let's hear from our from Nadine now.
Hello everyone, I'm Nadine Sandcroft Cooper, founder of Just Entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for having me here today to discuss the importance of startups and entrepreneurs in unlocking a net zero future for concrete. As an entrepreneur myself, I understand the importance that startups play in driving innovation and creating solutions to global challenges. Entrepreneurs are critical to this mission. They bring a unique perspective to the table. Free from the constraints of traditional industry practices, they are able to identify gaps in the market and develop original concepts that can drive sustainability. Events like today are keys to bringing great minds together to unlock a new wave of innovation. This is why I urge startups and entrepreneurs to take part in initiatives like the Innovandi Challenge, work with industry leaders to create solutions to help reach carbon neutrality.
Thank you. It's a great message. And I want to give the floor just as a sort of final rallying call to Harold Friedel, who we work with at the UN Climate Action Champions. Harold, you've been listening to the initiative and the global challenge which we're launching today. The floor is yours just to wrap up for us, if you'd like.
Yeah, thank you so much. Congratulations. I see over 300 participants are part of this launch event, which is a fantastic turnout from the high-level champions that has the mandate to rally ambition, to raise the ambition, so we can all reach the climate goals that we have set each other at the UN COP Climate Change Conference. Highest regards from the two current champions, Dr. Mahmoud Mohiuddin from Egypt and from Her Excellency Razan from the UAE, who will be part of the presidency team that is going to host the negotiation in November in Dubai. I think it's a fantastic turnout. Big applause for this second round of this innovation challenge, which is amazing. I think we have an urgent call out there for more collaboration. The high-level champions were especially set up to bring in everything that is not a country, a ministry, all the non-state actors, the investors, the philanthropists, the faith-based groups, the entrepreneurs, the businesses, the industries into the race to zero so we can reach the climate goals. And we're very privileged and honored to work with GCCA as an accelerator in this race together. We have seen a lot of progress in the last years. I've been myself working on this for the last 2.5 years, and I've seen the collaboration on the private sector side and the supply side really ramping up. I believe this call out there for a stronger collaboration with startups, providing this incredible launch board through the GCCA membership is a real opportunity to ramp up our implementation ambition one more time. And this is what we need to see and do if we want to live up to our expectations and to the stewardship we have for this planet and future generations. So I only can express the support to this initiative. I hope we will hear of each other a lot. I hope many startups will apply. Let's make sure that they come from all different geographies. I think that is really an important thing. The UAE presidency also continues to repeat, let's not only work with emerging economies, but also with the emerged economies and the balance therein. The UAE recently also launched a leadership group around net zero concrete. So many things happening. We help to connect the dots. And thank you so much for this partnership and much luck to this challenge.
Thank you so much, Harold. And look, that means we come to a close for our Open Challenge launch, but the launch is just beginning. If you are a startup and you're interested, do please check us on the website. There it is again for you. But also if you're a stakeholder involved in innovation, we'd love to hear from you. This is a joint enterprise, how we decarbonize the cement and concrete sector to provide and work towards the mission of net zero concrete for the world. Thanks again to all of those for joining, and we'll be sending these slides for everybody that joined and will be available on the website. Thank you once again.